the game is going live now, it is going to be a Rust versus Rust matchup.
And we got
And we're going
Demuslim,
to see what happens.
Demuslim
Yeah.
versus IamMagic here in the semi-finals for the SteelSeries Cup 2021.
And then both players are going with the Russian civilization or the Rust civilization, getting their hunting cabin and their lumber camp in pretty early on.
Yep.
And it is going to be a bounty hunt for both players. They both have something to win by hunting the deer and the wolves. So it's going to be interesting to see who does it better.
Over on the bottom side, just these player intros, we have the Muslim in the blue. So they will be rocking the blue for. Funnily, they're like the English player. You would expect them to have red, but unfortunately, the game has decided to give them blue. And over in the top side of the map, rocking the lovely red color, we have IamMagic.
Also with a nice little town center monument in the middle. I think most players have one. Yeah. Archers with the longbowmen with the pikes for the Muslim. And I believe that is a Rus. Is that a warrior monk? I don't know exactly what unit that is for
Just looks like a standard
IamMagic.
bearer.
Yeah.
Some kind of cavalry with the standards. And yeah, we're looking at the map. IamMagic, yeah, they're going to be cutting that wolf around and scanning the right hand side. They've cleared up one of their deer camps. And they're on 95 bounty versus the Muslim, who's on 125. And because of the Muslim's history, he was a Warcraft 3 player originally, right? So I figure this is like very natural to him, like the early creeping phase of the game to get gold.
Yeah. It is very interesting that IamMagic has two deer patches that are extremely close to him, extremely close to each other, and also in a pretty good route to use professional scouts when that pops in. It's going to be a little bit harder for the Muslim to go ahead and grab those, simply because of the amount of distance that he would have to cover between them. But on the other side, IamMagic does have a little bit of a nicer route to get at least one of the patches from the Muslim, the one that is closer to the middle to that sacred site. So it's gonna be interesting to see who tries to go for the other one's hunt first. We might see some grand theft deer coming in if it comes to that.
Oh yeah, because yeah, IamMagic, they just had one, basically a big mega patch of deer, like.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think
it
yeah
actually
that.
has in general, IamMagic has a triple set of resources on the back of his base that could be incredibly safe. Just one gold vein, a massive stone outcropping, and then a couple of berries.
And the
So
wood line.
yeah, this would be a beautiful place for a second TC if you were to want to build one, because you can have the deer, the woodline, and the berries all in one single space.
I've never actually really seen Roos versus Roos go into late game, so I'm kind of curious. Like,
It's a lot of springles.
oh yeah, that makes sense. But
You get the extra distance on those springles, baby, and they just go off.
on the economy side, though, is it like, do they go up to 2 or 3 TCs each, or?
I think you at least go to 2 TCs to support like villager production if you're noticing that your opponent is building up eco. The main thing, like avoiding 2 TCs, and this was a topic of discussion like right after the beta and as the game was coming out, was the idea that like if you can defend the second TC and you don't need to produce a lot of units, so like you're just going for economics and defending yourself with like static defenses or whatever units you build up to that point, then you're in a good position to go to TCs, because when you finish your second TC and you start getting the benefits from it by protecting the extra wood line or the extra food, you start to really roll on through and you can get to that like late Castle Age, early Imperial Age with a lot of resources to use into those upgrades and into those units that are going to help you. The problem is if you're not able to protect that second TC, if it would be too much of a risk to go up into a second TC, then you're going to be in an absolutely dreadful position if you go into two TCs. Because you don't have as much military production. You're usually trying to use your defensive positions to do it, and that is going to be much harder to do if your opponent goes for something like the battery rams or tower rushes or things like that are a little bit harder to destroy with just the handful of units you might have at that point. And yeah, it just comes down to whether or not you think you can defend it with what you have right now, because you're gonna need to pause your military production for just a couple of minutes to be able to go into that second DC. And sometimes pausing that military production can end up being like a big problem.
Oh, and as you predicted, like there's a big fight over in the center deer camp. IamMagic manages to grab 4 of the deer.
Yeah, he gets the lion's share of that hunt because the Muslim only got 3.
Yep.
And I think the Muslim knows that there is those deer patches up north for IamMagic, and it seems like he wants to go for those now. But Magic has the better route. He's going to be getting 2 at least, leaving 4 for the Muslim, but there is another batch there as well, and he will need to grab them. I actually don't like this by IamMagic trying to either like counter it. He was looking for it, but now he's gonna lose it. I don't think it's worth it to get your hunt taken to try and take the others player's hunt. It doesn't seem like that good of a trade.
Yeah, especially because I mean, yeah, the Muslim's gonna pick up like, oh, actually, because there's one scout kind of slowly picking up all of these deer. The Muslim almost like didn't manage to pick up a full set,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, he manages to pick up 6. He's gonna be fine, and he's only gonna lose.
IamMagic is gonna pick up the secondary one for the Muslim too.
Yeah, he's only get 4 of them though, so the Muslim gonna be able to run and grab up the rest of those. And something I'm very interested in, and I wonder if this is gonna happen this game. We did see people diving each other in terms of trying to grab like deer under the TC.
Yeah,
I
I
wonder.
think that at least for now, the Muslim is gonna be safe because there is that wooden fortress going up. And if IamMagic wanted to do that run by grabbing the deer, he would either need to go through the wooden fortress or he would need to like go around the berries and then down and up again. And it might be a little bit too problematic for him to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of wonder if like there was a possibility of the meta. I guess you would call it devolving rather than evolving, where it becomes like you keep the deer on the back of your scouts until you actually need to like start gathering food from them, because otherwise like your opponent will dive your TC with their scouts and pick them up.
Yeah. It seems like these people never heard of an old school refrigerator where you just hang the meat and close the doors. It's either on the ground or on the back of the horses for Age of Empires 4 civilizations.
Ooh, and the Muslim, this is something I haven't seen too many Roost players do, and oh wow, they're actually going to contest this. The boar, like a lot of people have just been skipping it until like way later in the game, but if you have like a handful of scouts, you can actually kill the boar.
Yeah, the main problem is that IamMagic is there as well. And I think whoever takes this is going to get the bonus much, much early.
Yeah, there
Because
are
you have
2
75
boar.
points up for grabs.
Yeah, there are 2 boars, so you could just let
Yeah.
your opponent grab one and you grab the other, but in this
Why let
case,
your opponent when you could do it yourself? That is the thing that they're thinking. Like, I would rather none of us have it than one of us have it and I have to take the other one.
yeah, because if we take a quick look at bounty, actually neither of them can hit the 500 mark, so that is
Yeah.
fairly important. Oh, we're seeing the scouts. Oh, the
the
Muslim gets the
watermark.
surround! Oh, that's
Oh,
when you...
that's beautiful.
This is a very common thing that happens in Warcraft 3, and you can tell that...
He could go for conversion. If he converts right now, he could get away.
Oh, you're
But no,
right.
he's not gonna do it.
He isn't thinking about that, though.
Uh,
Oh, that's
he's.
so
I
funny.
mean, it's sad, but I mean, you could have triggered the conversion, and it would have either forced him to accept that he was gonna get converted, or or like move the units far away enough so that you could path out of it. But now the other warrior monk is going to get away. That was a little bit of a lapse of judgment by Magic. A little bit unfortunate that he won't be able to secure that first relic.
That's one of those things.
Oh, and I think no.
Before this game, we were talking about fast thinking and was
Yeah,
it?
the mental capacity that you have to do all of the things at once, and whether or not you have to think about something or actually just do it.
Yeah, and that I think comes down to one of those, like, if you don't think about that like ahead of the game, like you don't know to do that, then that's like something that would take quite a lot of like mental fortitude to be able to be like, oh, actually, I
Yeah,
just need to like just press convert, and then they'll run away. And all right, we
yeah,
got
and
Demuslim
now
taking the
getting the
boar.
boar.
Yeah. Oh, the boar is still
I
up.
am
So
Yeah, I imagine needs to realize that the boar has been taken. He needs to take the other one. This is a situation where, like, if you were playing something like Dota and your opponent got your jungle, you need to take theirs right now.
yeah, and I'm looking at this relic count just before this fight starts. Yeah, it's 2-1 to the Muslim right now. They need to go and grab the other one, but it's actually the safe relic over on the side of IamMagic's.
Yeah, 3 relics for the Muslim and 1 relic for IamMagic.
Okay, that's pretty ideal. Kind of where you want to
Yeah,
be. Alright, and the Muslim, they do have one more warrior monk now than their opponent because they did manage to pick one off. So,
and the other boar is still up. If the Muslim realizes that the other boar is still up for grabs, he can get to the 500 one. I think, if my math is correct. Because you have the 20 for the 450. Oh no, you would be at 450. You would still need to kill a couple of sheep for it, but it would be pretty important.
yeah, I mean, it's still 75 gold. That's quite nice.
Yeah,
Not going to be game changing or anything, but ooh, we see an engagement here. And one thing both of these players are doing is they just have them all in one control group, which means that the horse archers will always like turn around, fall back into your opponent's army, and yeah.
yeah. You can see the buff from the warrior monk doing work there. +2 damage, +1 armor. It is just good enough when it comes to the scouts to be able to like elevate the 4 damage to 6 damage, and that is against no armor 110. So on 10 hits, you would kill a scout with the buff of the warrior monk in a scout versus scout battle, which is pretty good.
Oh, but while all this is going on, IamMagic's just like, well, I'm just gonna take the sacred sites. I can't win this fight. I might as well go and use this advantage of like my opponent's army is all in one place.
Yeah, and he like very much needs to do that because he's also behind in gold. He doesn't have the access to the relic, so he needs to get the sacred sites as much as possible.
Oh, what are we gonna see here? Is he actually gonna try and contest this? Or
I
not?
think he might.
Alright, the Muslim gets it. Warrior monks go in. They do get the buff up on those, but I think that's gonna come from both sides. Oh, actually, I think the Muslims monks didn't hit right at the beginning, so that buff didn't come in like quite as quickly.
Yeah.
And oh right, it's just like a whole bunch of archers fighting archers. The Muslim, oh, messing up the micro there a bit. They were shooting the scouts when they could have been shooting horse archers, but I think just in terms of like raw numbers, the Muslim just had a bit more. He's just going to completely overwhelm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take that fight. They pretty cleanly win that too. Is he going to go for this boar? He's going to run straight past it. No, I think they're just going to go for the sacred site first.
Yeah. You won the fight, you take control of the sacred sites, and you force your opponent to respond. Because, like, if he were to back off right now, he would be making a mistake in the sense that at least by taking the sacred sites, you are denying the goal there, and you're forcing your opponent to split into 3 different areas because you still have the sacred site in the middle. That is the one that's getting the reinforcement from your production unit. So just neutralizing the 2 at the side is going to force a fight in at least one of them, and you can always retreat from that one and gather your forces from the other two to attack.
Yeah, and oh, actually doesn't finish decapturing the one on the right hand side. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Oh,
Oh,
he realizes though, and he's gonna send the warrior monk back. But oh, that's like a little bit of wasted time. Magic's gonna get a little bit
yeah.
more gold from that.
Interestingly enough, no survival techniques yet for the Muslim. So he's now switching fully into farming, and I think that is going to be what he wants to do. I wonder if in the side of, yeah, no survival techniques either for the side of IamMagic. And actually, IamMagic is still not going into the sort of farm eco, and he's going to have a bunch of villagers going to sit around after that.
Oh, we see a mangonel
Oh,
come up.
here's the fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really nice spread. Oh, I say that. Oh, wow. Very good dodge there by the Muslim. And that is the thing. Mangonel shots can be dodged. And wow, horse archers do so much damage to mangonels. Able
Yeah.
to just dance around that and pick it off. I will say though, IamMagic does have an upgrade advantage right now. He does have that +1 armor. That's going to make a small difference here. But is just retreating. Does not want to stand and fight. And oh, they might lose some villagers because of this. More horse archer on horse archer action. Warrior monk comes in, gives the buff. And now, oh yeah, I think the Muslim realizes they've just gone a bit too deep. There's double wooden fortress over there. Don't really want to have to fight underneath those towers. And
Yeah.
oh, the Muslim doesn't capture that second sacred site. He did send a warrior monk over to it. And I believe that warrior monk actually has died. Oh no, there's another one going for it now. But yeah, we have siege on the side of IamMagic, and I think that's going to be the real game changer. The Muslim, while he definitely has the micro to play around that, like he was dodging those mangonel shots like an absolute champion. It only takes one of them to hit, right?
Yeah. Just a couple to hit, and suddenly all those horse archers that IamMagic has are that much more powerful, because just taking out like 20 points of health is 1/5 of the health of these units. The horse archers don't have a lot of health. So any sort of damage that you can get into them early immediately pays off.
And those did actually find that boar, so able to get a little bit more gold from that.
Yeah.
So close to
455 at the moment.
yeah, so close to the 500, and unfortunately just not gonna be able to get that. But alas, having that what like 200 extra gold off of bounty is still quite nice. Now we've got another fight coming in here.
Oh,
Mangonel shots. Oh, I think they barely
it's a
clipped.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
But the
Muslim,
warrior monk is gonna be able to heal that up in no time for the most part. Got magic now has armor as well, so those horse archers are starting to be pretty strong for him. They are 14-2.
Yeah, second upgrade for armor, one upgrade for damage, and there wasn't not on any armor upgrades, so these horse archers are actually, and it works really well to have the armor upgrade first, because you want them to tank and be very durable, so the mangonel can be the real damage dealer.
Yeah. I also really like what Magic is doing by walling off his base. He correctly identified that there are not a lot of resources on that left side that he wants, and oh, that mangonel shot just helped clean up there on the middle. There are not a lot of resources on that left-hand side, so he's just gonna wall it off so that no horse archers or any knights or anything like that can come in from there and hit. Particularly what he's gonna want to protect is the gold that sits on the back of his base and on the side of his base, as well as the berries and the stone there. Those are gonna be super helpful when it comes to taking and controlling space in the map, because he can build keeps once he has enough stone and just take control of different areas. Because even though the Rust have their springles and stuff like that that are super good against units, if you manage to creep in with the keeps, you're gonna have a really nice defensive position going forward.
Just looking at this right now, it's also not just, you know, those back workers on those berries, but also that back wood line is quite vulnerable too, so Yeah, just wants to,
Yeah.
like you're saying, wall off all of that off. Might even see like a wall on the top right, just to completely cut
Yeah.
out the horse archers. And here we go, another engagement. IamMagic's gonna dive in, and I think they recognize that there's just a bit too much army. Whoa, Demuslim has so much. Are those knights at
Are
the
we sure
front?
we're not watching the Mongols with that level of horse archers?
Yeah, so many knights as well. Oh, they're gonna go in on that Mangonel. Mangonel, I think he got an okay shot, but it's gonna go down. No, it's getting repaired.
It didn't repair like crazy. It
Oh,
gets one more shot and not great, but it is a shot.
yeah, but oh wow, just look at the numbers here from the Muslims. There's just so much. And
The thing is that the wooden fortress is gonna stay up for a little bit, and the horse archers are in a good position to like attack the knights and the warrior monks that are around it, but not actually get hit by the horse archers. So I think the wooden fortress is gonna stay up. But now the Muslim sees that he can't take a partial engagement. He will need to attack that wooden fortress completely if he wants to take it down now.
yeah, I mean, I think just shouldn't even really be using these horse archers to hit it. They're not doing that much damage. Just want kind of like the torches to burn it down. But the Muslim's just gonna focus fire this. Deals much damage. There's a whole bunch of villagers inside, so you know those are all gonna go down. We're still
Yeah.
on 1 TC for both players, I think. So villagers actually do matter a lot in this case.
In the final few bits of wood from the front wood line of IamMagic. The good news is that he has that back wood line and he's putting a fortress down behind it as well. So he's going to be fairly safe there. And now the sacred sites have been captured, all three, by the Muslims. So that is a 10-minute timer. At 31 minutes, this is going to be game over unless IamMagic neutralizes the sites. And God, that mass of cavalry coming in.
Oh, they're gonna get this mangonel. Is IamMagic actually gonna realize? Oh, they're so funneled. It's gonna get a huge hit. Manages to damage those knights pretty heavily. But now there's just so much in this base. I mean, the Muslim could just like tear down this town center almost. Oh, but he sees this back wood line. I think he's gonna see the vulnerable berries as well. And oh, look at these villagers going down. While this is going on though, there's a big counterattack coming in from IamMagic. They're going to hit these fields, do a ton of damage to these villagers. And yeah, both of these players just absolutely devastating each other's economy. IamMagic, yeah, all these villagers on these farms going to go down.
Oh my god, look at the other small wood line that is at the back of the base of IamMagic. He's just putting all of his villagers there and trying to keep them safe and actually build a gate for them to be able to escape.
Oh,
And try to be safe there. Oh my god.
and yeah, while it's happening, oh no! The Muslim's wood line, he isn't putting those villagers in the fortress, only just doing that now. Loses a whole bunch of them. Alright, and finally some knights to come in here, some horse archers to come and defend. Fortress will be able to keep those alive, but the Muslim just has so much. And yeah, there's now this two groups of horse archers picking up all these villages. The Muslim's base is wide open, taking tons of damage. And
Yeah.
IamMagic just put everything in buildings, and it's just like, well, you have a lot of army here that can kill villagers, but you don't really kill buildings, so I'm just gonna, you know, garrison up and try and stay alive. And yeah,
So
these
the interesting thing throughout all of this is that right now the Muslim has 54 villagers and IamMagic has 43. So they're not that far away, even more so considering that there are still horse archers fighting near the villagers for the Muslims. So like it was a big raid in terms of numbers, but it didn't end up doing as much economic damage as I think the Muslim wanted it to do. Because right now he's losing the villagers, not IamMagic.
yeah, and he's still losing villages. These horse archers are still killing so many. And yeah, just like that entire farm line's dead. This wood line took a ton of damage too. I actually feel like you kind of just want to build a second TC at this point if you're the Muslim, because you got to do some catching up.
And the god of all farms have now logged in. IamMagic just putting a bunch of farmland on the back of his base. He knows that he's gonna need all of that food to recuperate from losses on this raid. And yeah, just I mean, the Muslim has a big army, but that big army has just been doing loops around the map so far, and They were at one point in the base of IamMagic and literally just running around doing whatever they wanted, but they couldn't do a lot of damage. Most of those are horse archers, and if you wanted to sit around and burn down the opponent's base, you would have basically just given up your economy at that point, and that wasn't something that the Muslim wanted to do,
Yeah,
who's
although
now just building walls.
yeah, I mean it makes sense. Like I think he's recognized that he's a bit vulnerable to getting killed, so yeah, we're gonna see just a whole bunch of walls come up. Are we gonna see a second TC? I see a market come down. Yeah, second town center is coming down for the Muslim. So he's realized that, oh, actually I need to build my villager count up. His army size is massive though. He's taking the
Yeah,
sacred sites once again. I think he just needs to constantly just throw units at his opponent's worker lines. Even if they aren't
once again, the
efficient
neutral.
trades, like he has such a huge advantage in army. He's like 145 population against Magic's 59. He's got a 90 population leads. And
Yeah.
oh, one knight finds this backwood line. It's gonna start picking off villages, or villagers even, and that's gonna cause.
Thankfully for Magic, that wood line was chopped incredibly quickly. It was absolutely lightning fast how rapid that wood line fell down. So he could just return to the main one that he wanted to use. And a big engagement now in the front of the base for IamMagic, coming in with a bunch of units of Muslim and firing onto those fortress.
Yeah, and now there's just so many knights. All of this gold from this relics and these sacred sites. And like the knights are just gonna torch all of these buildings down. Like fortress, it put up like an okay-ish amount of fight. Like it lasted a while, but it didn't really do any damage. So yeah, and like the Muslim's army just is covering the screen. And I think he's dancing. I don't know if he's styling a bit here. He's having a good time. I think he realizes he's won.
Yeah, he just needs to wait because the Sacred Site victory is going to be in about 4 minutes or so. We'll just have to see exactly when it pops, but he just needs to make sure that the Sacred Site are not neutralized up until this point. And there is a little bit of a war party coming down for IamMagic, but it might not get anywhere important. 3 mangonels for the side of IamMagic to try and stop this attack. Fortunately, his opponent's units are well spread out, and they're now coming crashing down onto those mangonels. The villagers are being pulled to try and repair those mangonels so that they can have a little bit more of a fight. One of the mangonels go down, a second one go down, that's a third one, and that is all villagers that are going to be massacred by the knights and the horse archers. One more mangonel, but it will likely not be enough.
Yeah, and
And yeah.
IamMagic had about 17 population at the end there. Just lost everything. The Muslim just had this massive army, able to completely overwhelm and crush. And oh, that was such a good game. Lots of really great moments as well, like that scouts around on the warrior monk to seal a deal with that relic.
And the,
And that it's small moments like that in the early game that can really like define how the rest of the game is going to play out. Because that one relic gave the Muslim that gold advantage, which allowed him to then, have a higher knight count than his opponent. And
yeah, you can see how it slowly but surely ended up making the difference in the timeline for the military count when you ended up getting those relics up, and then the raid started, and it eventually came down to it. I do want to highlight just how well the raid was for IamMagic. You can see that the numbers go down, and for the Muslim, for IamMagic, they went down vertically, but then it leveled off because all of his villagers were hiding somewhere. They were well protected. But for the Muslim, it was a steady loss of villagers for a while, and that was that raid that we saw from IamMagic. It's just unfortunate that it wasn't enough at the time to, get rid of that major force.
yeah, I mean, like the thing there though is even though that elongated raid from IamMagic did a lot of damage to the villagers, because the Muslim got the earlier one and then got a second one afterwards, like they were just ahead on villagers the whole time. So, and yeah, we also
Yeah.
see that fight at the end where the villager count just plummets. A bit of a rough time there. And we look at the military count, and yeah, like You can kind of see where the big fights took place. First one was pretty even. Second one, IamMagic went in with like a. Actually, no, the second one didn't go so well for IamMagic. There was like another engagement where IamMagic was a little bit behind, but I think that was the fight where Demuslim attacked under the wooden fortress.
Yeah.
Uh, but
It's one of those things where like the relic made a difference, and the fact that the map control was on the side of the Muslim and he was forcing fights with the sacred sites. That kind of meant that whatever units IamMagic kind of put out there to try and put a little bit of a defense and take control of those sacred sites, they were either slaughtered or at least cut down to number in every single fight.
yeah, when your opponent has a superior economy, like if you take an equal trade, you're losing. So
Yeah.
yeah, even on the fights where it looked like it was fairly equal, like in terms of losses, yeah, it just didn't pan out that way just because the Muslim had that bigger economy behind it. And yeah, you just look at the army size chart, the Muslim was able to macro incredibly. And I think IamMagic, they dedicated a lot of horse archers to being able to kill villagers, but they lost a lot when that happened, and the Muslim just had that big army and was able to sustain it. And that
Yeah.
is really the story of that game. So we're going to go into game 2, I think. I think they'll be starting that fairly
Yep.
soon.
They've already jumped into that game, so as soon as you're out, I'll go ahead and send you an invite.
Okay, I will be out momentarily. And once again, this is the SteelSeries Prime Cup. We're in the semi-finals, 20,000 US dollars for the total prize pool. I believe it's 5,000 for first place.
Yep, 5,000 for first place and 3,000 for second and 1,500 for third and fourth place. So no matter what, whoever loses this is walking away with $1,500.
That is true. And yeah, like you get 1,500 more. Like the Muslims one game away from $1,500. Or an
On top
extra.
of what he already has guaranteed.
Yeah, so yeah, he's having a good time. And you could definitely
Yeah.
tell, you know, he was dancing his units at the end there. So he's enjoying himself. You can tell he's got that jolly English smile on his face.
It's I saw it a lot in the War Chief Club 2, which is the event that I ran, obviously. Soldier lost in the first round, and he went through the lower bracket. And each game that he won in that lower bracket, you could see him get more and more pumped. He was just getting excited in every single win. So I would imagine the Muslim is exactly the same. He already won against Marine Lord, which was a major upset. So he's probably feeling himself. He knows that he can get a win here against IamMagic, which is also like, can we talk about the fact that I don't think anybody predicted the Mista to lose to IamMagic and the Muslim to win against Marine Lord, and now they are playing against each other? It is one of those things where like, this is not how the bracket was supposed to